I'm Ben Ayers, coming to you from Kathmandu, Nepal with Everest.Live. Here's your November 2025 update. This has been a busy fall season in Nepal, much busier than usual. We had the usual crowds of climbers on Manaslu, which is a lower 8,000-meter peak, often seen as a training peak for Mount Everest. There were almost 400 paying clients on the mountain this year. Those are numbers that rival what you see in a crowded Everest season. Over on Mount Everest this fall, we also had two exciting ski descents of Mount Everest this year that many of you have probably heard about. On the south side, Polish climber and skier Andrzej Bargiel did an oxygen-free descent from the top to the bottom, releasing incredible footage through his connections with Red Bull. While he claimed that that was the first non-stop top-to-bottom descent, that was created some controversy as Austrian skier Hans Klammerlander claimed that he did the same feat in 1996, except that Klammerlander took his skis off on one short rocky section because, prudently, he didn't want to mess up his skis. So again, the record chasing happens. A few days after Bargiel's descent, Jim Morrison, American skier, on his third attempt, finally did the first ski descent of the Hornbein Couloir on the north side of Mount Everest, which is being described as the hardest possible ski descent on the mountain. Let's keep an eye on it for the next few years, and we'll see what happens. What was interesting was the last successful climb of Mount Everest in the fall was in 2010, and this year we saw a flurry of activity. American climber Tyler Andrews, who you may remember from this last spring season, made two more attempts to set the fastest known time without oxygen from base camp to the summit, and in both attempts, he was turned around by deep snow and bad weather. In other news in the mountains in Nepal, this from the past few weeks, was some bad news in the aftermath of a tropical cyclone that came up from the Bay of Bengal and dumped a huge amount of late-season snow in Nepal. This snow resulted in the death of two Italian climbers on a mountain called Panbari Himal in the Manaslu region, and unfortunately, 13 climbers were trapped in an avalanche on a peak called Yarlung Ri. This was sort of a smaller training peak that many of them were going up to acclimatize for a bigger climb. And this massive avalanche claimed 7 lives, 5 foreigners and 2 Nepalis, while 5 people were rescued. The body recovery for this is underway as we speak. And that event generated a fair bit of controversy because the helicopters that were called in for the rescue were delayed by about 8 hours due to permitting and bureaucratic issues, given that the Rawalling Valley where this happened was in a restricted area. The Nepal Department of Tourism has vowed to look into it and to try to streamline the rescue process. But as we all know with the Nepali bureaucracy, this probably also is going to take some time to complete. And lastly, this week, the mountaineering world lost an absolute legend. The larger-than-life character Henry Todd, also known as the Todd Father, although I would never have dared to say that to his face, passed away at the age of 80 in Kathmandu, his favorite place in the world. Henry Todd was an early entrepreneur on Everest, some say the very first Western outfitter to work on the mountain. Henry, in many ways, helped invent modern commercial climbing. A lot of that was through his innovations with oxygen systems. He created he was able to find lightweight oxygen bottles. He had a business filling those bottles, selling regulators. Oftentimes, he got those from places like the Czech Republic and Russia. Sometimes they exploded. Oftentimes, they worked really well. But he made an indelible mark on Himalayan climbing as a climber, as an outfitter, and just as a legendary person. Henry Todd also, interestingly, before he got into mountaineering, was known for being part of a gang that was busted for the largest drug bust, I think, in European history, where they had some untold millions of doses of LSD hidden in a secret compartment under a house in the British countryside. So from the very beginning, he was a colorful and legendary character. Henry, we love you and miss you, and we know that you're off to a better place now. So That's it for our November update. In the next few months, we'll be seeing things moving into winter expeditions, which will be a slow time, but already people are ramping up for what's looking like a busy spring season. If any new news happens, you'll hear it here first on Everest Live.